And we're live.
Thank you for coming and welcome to the third day of Technology Week that we are having together in Eastern Europe with two our TDCs fast growing here in Globant, TDC Belarus and TDC Romania. Let me start with the video about Globant. Let me share my screen. Okay.
From time to time, we need to reinvent ourselves. Today, more than ever, we need to grow and adapt as people and as brands. At Globant, we go beyond our peers. To help organizations embrace a new reality, we are reinventing digital. Millions of people are impacted by the solutions we create. With products built by blending engineering, design, and innovation at scale. With our studios, deep pockets of expertise focused on the latest technologies and trends. Our reinvention starts with each of our Globers, over 12,500 around the world. Our global team is multi-talented, multicultural, and extremely passionate. In this new world, we reinvent collaboration through technology. We rely on autonomy and organize ourselves into agile pods. We provide transformation that goes beyond digital. We embrace the power of artificial intelligence to augment Globant's capabilities and promote culture. With the help of AI, we are revolutionizing the way we recruit and retain our talent, the way we code and collaborate. It's a matter of following a vision, a dream. We are reinventing digital so you can reinvent your business. Globant, we are ready.
So, hope that you are ready for our wonderful session today. Let me first say a few words about myself and about who I am in Globant. All of you know me very well. I'm Oksana, and I'm responsible for recruiting in Eastern Europe in Globant. For both countries. I have great teams in Belarus and in Romania. But first, some quick facts, about Globant. As you know, Globant was established in 2003 by four our founders. They were friends, and in some period of time, they decided to establish their own business. So they were sitting just on a bar, creating the strategy, creating the logo of Globant. And they were not sure if the company will be successful or not at that period of time. But in 2006, we have made a huge step. We signed a contract with Google, and Globant was the first contractor Google signed the contract with. It was before EPAM or Luxoft did the same. Starting from this time, Globant got the chance, to enter the doors successfully to the huge clients. And since that time, Globant started to grow a lot. In the next 10 years, Globant grew a lot, but mainly in Latam, Central, and North America. They opened new offices in different cities, and in 2014, the successful company was listed on IPO on New York Stock Exchange. During this period of time, Globant did not have any offices in Europe, and the first office in Europe was opened in Spain in 2016. But let's talk about our offices. Both offices in Eastern Europe were opened in 2018, and starting from this time, the history of Globant in Eastern Europe began. We are happy with our clients, and our clients trust us. Our clients are huge companies, just like Globant is. This is the main gaming companies, gaming studios, the biggest ones in the world, such as Ubisoft, Zynga, Warner Brothers, Square Enix, and others. We also have contracts with huge airlines such as Southwest Airlines or Emirates. We have contracts with big product companies such as Inditex, for example. You may not know the name of Inditex, but their brand Zara is known by millions of people around the world. Getting back to Eastern Europe, when Globant opened the office in 2018, there were only a few people here, but the first client, one of the first clients that came to Globant in 2018 was Google. The one who helped Globant to grow in general. And the guys from Google account came to us and asked for Golang developers because they couldn't find Golang developers anywhere else. And they strongly believed that Belarus was the right place to find the right people. That's why how the successful cooperation with Google began. One of the first our Golang developers who joined Google project was Alex Apalikov, who will be the speaker today. So let me introduce our Golang technical lead. He's the real expert in his technology. And let me pass the word to our great person who works with Google for more than 2 years already. I'm really happy to work with you, Alex, and I'm passing the word to you to make your presentation about the project that you did. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to talk today about projects I was part of. One of them are Agones. And let me continue. Sorry, I will hide this. So let's start with orchestrating game servers with Agones. I will talk a bit about myself. So it was really different technologies and different industries. So I joined satellite development in 2010, and it was mostly verification system for different parts of this satellite. Then after that, I was focused on developing distributed system of DNS and DHCP servers. And after joining Globant, I just started with Agones project, which is very interesting, and in some ways it's a state-of-the-art project. It has lots of contributors. It has open source community. It is driven by the community also, and so there would be 2 projects in this presentation: one about Agones and second about OpenMatch. So I will talk about how they relate to each other. I will describe main concepts, so for you to be more familiar with the terms. Then we look really fast through the features, through how to allocate game server, then what kind of ideas you should keep in mind while integrating your game servers, and an example of matchmaking with OpenMatch with a new feature we have developed recently. It would be released in this month. It's a backfill. So let's start with Agones. The project is open source, so I posted here communication channels. You should definitely follow if you have some questions, and you can have after that you can open an issue on the GitHub, and of course you can create pull requests. So we are really open, and open community and waiting for others. Really, some great feature requests come from our community. So custom resource is an extension of the Kubernetes API, and here you can see a number of them we are using in the project. We are introducing Fleet, which is a group of ready game servers which you can allocate from. Fleet Autoscaler is also another custom resource which allows you to scale up and down your fleet based on your demand. So you don't need to worry about how many game servers you have in your buffer, which are not allocated and ready. So then we have GameServerAllocation is a way to allocate game servers out of this fleet. And you can use labels for this. And you can also use multi-cluster allocation as well. And I want to tell you that this project is a part of Google Cloud Game Servers, which allows you to handle multiple clusters with your configurations, create some realms, and it is very useful if you want your game to be accessible from entire world with some small pings. For example, if you have two players who wants to join from say USA East, you can select the servers which are located near them, so it would be really helpful. The next one is the what it's introduced compared to the normal pods and deployments. So you can think of a fleet like a deployment, and game server set like a replica set, and a game server is a pod. So actually, it is for every game server there is a pod in the Kubernetes, which is usually 2 containers. And you can do the same with these pods as you usually do with other pods in Kubernetes. For a list of features, you can have multiple and different ways to allocate ports. Then we have multi-cluster allocation, which is very useful. If you have, for example, one cluster which runs previous version of Agones or of your game, and another one you upgrading with, so it would be also useful. We have a number of new features like player tracking, which is currently alpha. We have number of all the main cloud providers are there, and I will use a pointer. So we have all major cloud providers here. We have support for Minikube and Kind, and all of it is very useful that we have a built system based on Docker, so you can all the tests are run on the same environment because it is containerized. So when you do make tests, make build, what you need is only Docker. For example, I've used for some of PRs, which was related to C++ builds. I've used a big compute engine. I only need to configure SSH, and then Visual Studio Cloud Code allows you to connect. Only what you need is Docker, actually, and then you go with our make file with the set of targets, and you are able to use Helm, YAML, or Terraform to install Agones. And it can be done also from the Docker. You just run make shell, and that's it. All of them are available and can be pulled from the internet or can be built on your machine. So that was number one idea which you can get from this project is that you can use Docker build system. So a number of SDKs. The community wants to have Unreal Engine 5, as I know. So for now, we are supporting Unreal Engine 4, Unity, C++, Golang. All of these are the languages which your game server is written on, so is developed on. If you have any other fancy language, you can use REST. So you just have Swagger, generate some code to access our gRPC gateway, and it would do the same. So originally, GameServer pod consists of 2 containers, and one is the same for all, is sidecar. The purpose of this sidecar is to transfer back and forth the state of your game server, the labels, annotations, etc. So all what you can see with capsule describe game server, you can see from inside your pod, and you can set labels, update annotations, and this labels concept would be used later on in my example, small example. And also I have introduced SDK conformance tests. Is basically checking that you can run an example game server on top of this is the case. Some of them not covered yet, but it continues running on our CI and CD. So it is really helpful to see what's going on. What's inside the SDK? Actually, now you should mark your game server as ready when it is when all resources are loaded and when you can allow players to join. Then you can use Watch Game Server. Actually, it is open a stream where you read all updates in your game server state, like labels, anything. Then you can use Game Server just to read current state. Then allocate reserve is used to change the state, and allocated game server have this privilege that you cannot, when game server fleet would be scaled down, all of these game servers which are allocated will not be deleted. Then you can, after allocate, you can mark game servers ready. So there would be a state diagram here. And what the next interesting point I would like to cover is that we have feature stages similar to what Kubernetes has. Actually, it is a number of features. All features have some string labels. You can turn them on or off. And the interesting part of this is that you can have like multiple number of combination of these features. So we decided to cover with our CI at least default set of features. Imagine this alpha player connect feature. When it's come to a beta stage, it becomes enabled by design. But if for some reason you want to disable it, you just on your installation you can remove it. And in the code, it could look like if feature is enabled, you did a new logic, else you did you do what you did before. So basically, it's an interesting concept when you're introducing very big amount of changes, or you are worried about backward compatibilities or other stuff. You can use feature stages and some kind of parameters which allows your users to select. And with these combinations, you can do very different different flavor of your platform. So Agones is a platform to build on top of it games. It is open source. You can reuse it for what was introduced for GameServer is its states. State transition comes here. As you can see, we have GameServer controller, allocation controller in the SDK, which did this transition. So as you can imagine, you cannot do the transitions which are marked as blue and which are marked as yellow. And you can do all this stuff. Here, API user is means that you can use kubectl apply and you can create new game server. Game server can live without a fleet, so it is very useful for development. Then when you want, after your players left the game, after your match is over, you can set them back to ready, or you can shut down your game server and it would be safely removed from a fleet. Then you can go, you can use our website deeply because it's contain all the information and guides useful to configure your platform, because probably you will use GameServerAllocation in your OpenMatch or other system which match players together, and then as a result they will receive a connection to your game server. So in order to allocate game server, you can reuse GameServerAllocation, which is another custom resource. You can do kubectl apply create with this new new customer source. You can also use gRPC to create it. So I just gathered some ideas on how to integrate your game into Agones, or how to use Agones basically. First of all, you need SDK. You need to select which language would you use, REST or any provided, create a new one. Then you can use a local development guide, which actually not containerized version. It's a normal, for example, Go binary, which you run, similar to what we have in the SDK conformance test. Is simply a binary which run with local SDK, which is a simulation of normal SDK, which just print out the states and states transitions. Then you make a Docker file. Then you, after that, you make sure that your Docker image is usable, and a standalone game server can live in Agones. You can turn on and off health check if you have some troubles with this. It's usual common problem at the beginning stage. Then you should estimate how many game servers you would have and how many nodes you would have. So the very good idea to have separate node pools. One is for Agones controller, one for metrics, one for game servers. So that if something goes wrong and some of node pools would be used and run out of memory or something, Agones controller should live forever. And by the way, there is one ticket opened about Agones controller, which can have a highly available Agones controller. So, and basically when they can vote and select a new Agones controller if one Agones controller goes down. This mechanism is not yet implemented. That's why you should keep track that your Agones controller leaves. And you can play around and delete Agones controller, see what happens, just to have some crash scenarios to see what's going on there. Then you should think of matchmaking and how players get connection info, and how the matchmaking problem actually leads to another problem, how you would classify your players. There could be a different kind of type of players, say tank or healer. It can be skill like level, experience points, etc. Then you can all this information goes into the ticket, and in the OpenMatch, for example, and there is search fields in there, so you can select based on this information. Then you can think of upgrade process, because definitely your game server would and your game would live very long. So you need to think and try in your QA environment how, or your dev environment, how to upgrade. Seamless upgrade usually needs two cluster, one with the old version, one with the new version. Then you can look at Google Cloud Game Servers, which allows you for free to, when you enable it, which allows you handle one cluster with Agones for free. And there is very good documentation on this. So, and you would just create similar fleet configurations, similar fleet autoscaler configurations to use with the help of Google Cloud Game Servers. Then let's talk to more fresh project I had is OpenMatch. We were working on backfill. As you can see previously, here you can see the demo of OpenMatch, which runs a number of players on the website. It in the description of these fields of these main terms comes from this. We introduce a new backfill, which new abstract for actually for a match which wants new tickets to for this match. So if we have a lack of players, for example, we need 10 players, we have only 2. We can create a backfill with a number of open slots, which are 8, and basically we can set such fields similar to what tickets has. So it has aggregated characteristic of tickets which are already there or about a match we are expecting to construct. So we just create a new backfill, and then we are all normal tickets would be associated with it automatically when you form a match with those tickets and put one backfill. So one backfill can have multiple tickets inside, and then you should add into Agones, for example, game server, you should add acknowledge backfill step. I will show you in the code very soon. Then let's go briefly about components. There are multiple components, and don't worry about this. They should work also from one helm install command, should create all of them. So query service is actually OpenMatch used Redis to store the tickets, backfills, and some assignments to the tickets. What query service allows us to do is to cache some usual queries, tickets results, and also backfills. So backfills were changing frequently, and it has a special parameter generation, which is auto-incremented every time. So anytime you have tickets associated with backfill, generation should go up. You need normally to develop your match function, your director, because director, um, for example, match function examples are provided already, so you can look at them. But for your exact behavior, you should use query service. You should get the tickets, get backfills, and form match out of them. Let's go with this diagram. Yeah, by the way, you can ask questions in Q&A section. Really interested in your knowledge on this topic. So if I have forgot something, you can always reach me out here on Slack. So let's go to this diagram. These backfill feature actually are in beta right now. So we are really interested to hear your feedback on that. So previously, a normal MMF did this number of actions. It has some tickets, for example, T1, it can be T2 also. It's see, I want to create a match with 2 players. It's creating a match, and the resulting match should go to OpenMatch core and then to a director. So why this line goes here? Because some of the matches can be rejected by the synchronizer and evaluator. For example, if they are has the same number of tickets, same tickets, then one of these matches would be definitely rejected. Automatically on the backend, backfill would be created out of your constructed. This is what not in the database. Yeah, I see one question. This match is not in the database yet because at some point it can be rejected by evaluator. Then if it reaches backend, a new backfill would be created. And then a match which contains this backfill with a ID, number of open slots, and other search fields information would be available to director. What director is doing is communicates with Agones or other game server platform, orchestration platform, and it allocates game server. It knows connection info, and usually it's also make assignments to all the tickets it see after it's receive game server information. And now with acknowledge backfill and with backfill, you need to perform acknowledgements on your game server. So game server would ping your front end every say 1 minute, and all tickets which are waiting in the backfill would be assigned to your game server. And also player always watch an assignment, and when these assignments would be available in the tickets, it would receive it and connect to game server. So I would like to thank Daniel. This is Daniel Oliveira. You can check his code, because this is the most recent code and open source project I found so far about Agones, about OpenMatch together. Because as you saw in the previous slides, they are really different. I mean, they make different operations, but we need some kind of glue to merge them together and develop director, develop MMF with both of them, because really OpenMatch are very abstract, and you should see some examples how to use this platform. So let me check what I've did during the preparation of the demo. I used example backfill MMF, which are in the repo already. I have configure secrets, which was in the guide of GameServerAllocator. Then I am doing propagation of this backfill ID. I pass in this information which director receives from OpenMatch. I'm passing this to GameServer. Then GameServer realized that backfill ID was associated with it, and it would start to acknowledge backfill. That request is needed for all tickets to be assigned to this GameServer. Then, as you can see, tickets got assignment and a connection string provided by GameServer. So let me go to the demo then. I see your questions. Let's go a bit later to them. What we have as a simple game server, it allows you to use TCP, UDP, and both TCP, UDP in one port on one port. Acknowledge backfill I have added recently. This is a very draft version of what would be in the real example. I would create a PR to this repo very soon because it's really helpful to see how backfill feature would be used. So what we have here, we have a new request. We just need create a gRPC connection. We have a front-end service. We are creating a request. Hopefully you see my screen good. You're creating backfill requests, and you're acknowledging it. And if some backfills are returned, if some backfill is returned, you see it in the logs. Then, in order to check this setup, I also want to show you another. Yeah, here it is. This is about changes to the game server. So, as I told you before, makefile is very useful because, for example, if you want to build the project, it is using Docker, and it's mount all necessary stuff, all your repo inside. Just wait a moment. What is common mounts are? Yeah, it's actually mounts all necessary stuff. It mounts the whole repository inside the Docker. So it's and then yeah, it use whole pass into your repo and mount it into the Docker. So you can do whatever you want. By the way, I run the shell here because I want to access my kind cluster. So there was no external IP available. That's why it opened a shell inside the kind Kubernetes and Docker cluster. More native way is to use Google Kubernetes engine for this, but let's see how you can develop on your laptop. Okay, we have two game servers. Lens is very useful feature, allows you to do what Google Cloud Console allows you to do, but very small amount of operations, like a subset. But it is another open source project. I really welcome you to use. Then right now we have a fleet pod, which is a game server. You can see custom resources here. So Agones Dev introduces a fleet, you can scale it in the set number of game servers as 10. So I can do this another way around. We have a fleet, right? And by the way, I was able to scale it to the 10, and now we have 10 game servers, but they are not allocated yet. Let me check this project from Daniel. So I have added a new label, which is a backfill ID. So any information useful inside GameServer, you should pass with your allocation request. So I'm patching this GameServer. So any GameServer which would be selected by this allocation request would have another, sorry, press the touch bar. We would have another label. And also, I just filter out one region just for simplicity. And then once we have selected a match using MMF, so let's go to make matches function. Yeah, this make matches is a very simple function, but it uses tickets and backfills which are queried from OpenMatch. So these tickets form a match. As you can see here, we create a new match and put backfill inside. And backfill, this one is from old backfill. And if we want to create a new one, I would just create for all remaining tickets which cannot be handled with backfill. I will create a new match with a backfill formed of one ticket. Let's go to the presentation. So it's very simple to use their Agones Discover OpenMatch wrapper. I just creating a player simulation. I'm creating director. I'm creating matchmaking function. And let's see what's going on with our game servers. Basically, what we have in the pods, a new one, which are from Agones OpenMatch, a namespace. We have the director. So this was because MMF hasn't started. So I need to remove some kind of errors. Let's check how many players we have. We have 100 players. Then we are waiting every 30 seconds. MMF calls, director calls fetch matches. It runs MMF. And it's run, it's request query service for new tickets for new backfills. So what we can check next is what we have on other namespaces. On other namespaces, we have default. You can configure it. We have all game servers pods. Then we have Agones system controller. We have OpenMatch backend and query service. I can see the logs of queries service. So I need to check. Yeah, some game servers was allocated. So actually, director should see the match, new match inside. Yeah, as you can see, new match with match ID, with match profile, and with backfill. So you just put backfill, which is a new addition to a normal match. And as you can see, generation at the end is 1 because it was just created. Okay, what we can do next? I have added this acknowledge as similar to what we have previously in example GameServer. So I can, it is echo server. For example, here I've used GameServer, which is here. And I can go, I just print out this whole information in the logs. As you can see, GameServer send and receive backfill as a result. So it make a query request to the OpenMatch in order to acknowledge and to assign all tickets. So I will do it one more time. As you can see, there is only one ticket exists here. So if some of the tickets would be used, and then this number of open slots would be documented, generation would be updated. Right now, we don't have any updates as this backfill was not selected by MMF. So we have the same generation. One more option we can do, yeah, let me do acknowledge again. So usually you would acknowledge it automatically periodically every 30 seconds. One more thing, I can set the server as ready, and then if I go back and get this game server, as you can see, I moved it back to ready state. I can do the same with this one. So it is useful for writing end-to-end tests for debugging. So this game server is really this netcat comments is very useful in order to check different scenarios. As you can see right now, this game server becomes ready. So what we have inside this game server, I can do with describe command. As you can see, more and more game servers out of the fleet would be allocated. Yeah, it was allocated, then it's become ready. We have, for example, one more thing. If we know that exact amount of CPU and exact amount of memory our game server should have, we can set the limit on the resources. Then we have a container port. This port, which you can see in capital get GS, are actually one of the host ports. It's randomly distributed out of your range, which you select. Then what we can see actually owner references. This game server managed by GameServer set. We have a fleet name. So this is information is used by a controller. We have health checks. We have number of players. All this information, for example, we have initial capacity of 10. We can change it using the command which can be found here only in the README. Capacity, player capacity, I can set it I can set it to any number. When player connects, I can set some IDs. So it is also very useful to test with this simple game server. So it can be found in the registry. So all the information can be found in registry. So let me check this. And you can find the exact version and exact tag which already there. So this way you can see all the images, all the image versions you want to use. Also, I have tried to use Grafana, but on kind without luck, but I would like to show you a bit about metrics. And installation is very simple. You just copy paste all these commands. Yeah, so let's go to the website to understand so better what you can see from the Grafana perspective. What also this platform has out of the box is metrics. I'll make it a bit bigger. You can see how many game servers are allocated out of your fleet. So you can see that capacity is 29, 71 was allocated. You can see how many are ready out of these fleets. You can see controller resource usages. You can see any coroutines leaks. For example, we had one before, like 2 years ago, I think, and we need a new change from the Kubernetes because we used not the most recent Kubernetes version. We are using right now, for example, 1.17, and so we took one a fix. We realized this with profiling. You also can find profiler for the controller. So, and you can, it was helpful to find the exact GitHub bug. So, I mean, that Kubernetes project are also very useful for you if you have some issues with your controllers. Then you can found it on some solutions in the community, Stack Overflow, but actually searching through GitHub was more useful for me, at least. So this is the project I was using. Basically, it contains both Agones and OpenMatch deployments. It implements the director, and it also implements player simulation. So, and as a result of this demo, I was able to send a request for OpenMatch, and then was able to propagate this backfill ID from the director to Agones GameServer, which was really useful. And basically, the tickets actually got assigned to connection, which was provided by GameServer. Let's look back at what we have here in the acknowledge. We are sending connection. This connection actually I'm showing here. You can see a host port. So it would be host port and address found in the status. Just briefly about the fleets, about what it contains. Basically, when you are working and want to do something in Agones, you just need to use examples very deeply because, for example, we have a number of YAML configs. Let's create one. Yeah, simple UDP was created. So let's check it out. What we have 0 ready game servers, we can see that all game servers was located on this fleet. So all of them can be acknowledged. For example, all of them are assigned some backfill IDs. Let me check one. Um, we have game servers. For example, this one. Let's go in this UI. In the pods, as you can see, game server actually is a pod, and the second it is in the first is it's a game server. So basically, Agones controller used a game server representation is spec and status. Spec is what we expect from this game server to be. I'm searching for a backfill ID here. Yeah, so let's go to game server. Yeah, as you can see here, from the game server perspective, we assigned one backfill. All of them have different backfills. I will make it a little bigger. We have all of these are available from the Watch Game Server SDK command. So you just waiting for backfill to be assigned, and then you can acknowledge it, or you're checking the status that you are in an allocated status. So when we go to game server, we can see its status. It contains port. It has reserved until timeout. So all this information spec can be changed. You can set it to something different, which is very useful for you to check all your configurations. For the fleet, the interesting point in the fleet, let's go to an example. We have created a fleet. Then we want to create fleet autoscaler. Yeah, let me do this one more time. So this autoscaler was created. What was inside this fleet autoscaler? Let me check. I've used a simple UDP example. It has buffer size, minimum replicas, maximum replicas. How this changed our fleet contents? Okay, I'm wanting to do a buffer size of 5. And I want to apply these changes. It was configured. Let me check. Yeah, as you can see, the state of the fleet is changing. Right now we have 5. The status is 2 as before. And as you can see, more game servers start up, and we are able to see the results. Let me briefly check what events are in this system. It's also very useful for debugging. As you can see, there are a number of events we are tracking. When a new container was created, when it was started, what was the image, when SDK was called and completed, when we have scaling of game server. So let me do a bad thing, like let's check the validation. As you can see, there are no possible a way to create this because we have used a wrong parameter. Let's check more game servers. Yeah, you can see that the commands are very exactly the same as before, as in with pods and normal Kubernetes instances and resources. You just use describe and you use get. Then we can, for example, delete one fleet. Sorry, I will write this down. Yeah, you can delete one of the fleets. And now you can see that game servers are continuously creating. You can get events. By the way, when you're using Google Kubernetes Engine, you would always use Stackdriver, and both metrics and the logs are available on Stackdriver. So as you can see, the dashboard on the Stackdriver and the dashboard on Grafana, so both of them are available. So, and one more thing I wish to cover is that the project contains a different way of testing it. For example, if you can run end-to-end tests, you can run Terraform tests, which I used the framework TerraTest, and it is very useful that you are running Golang code, invoking Terraform, apply, see the results. So it is also might be useful for your development. So if you want to create Terraform config, you can do this and then run the tests for it. So Terraform test, as you can see here, is very simple. You just init and apply Terraform with your config file, and then you are checking some services. When services are up, you are checking they are available. And there is one more option to test is Helm test, for example. There is a test, test YAML. Yeah, it's basically a pod which would create a game server in a namespace. If something goes wrong, we and this is an image. It is used by this test. So we have, as you can see, lots of bash scripts, lots of make files, just for easy to make a development as easy as it can be. And as you can see from this test, is just checking that we are able to create game server. We are able, and it's in the ready state. So that's all from my side. Let's go back to the questions. I see two of them. So could you please describe pros and cons of Agones compared with other game servers platforms? I understand. So let's to answer this question.
Я тебя не слышу, что?
Sorry. Yeah.
Она
So,
в тебя, понимаешь? Потому что если бы мама была, то
can you mute,
как
Oksana?
электроник бы была. Oh,
Yeah,
so
okay. Yeah, so what's about other possible opportunities, other possible options? First, what you should consider is a community and the number of the healthy state of the project. So we have used Slack a lot. We have release cycle every, let me check. We have 50 release so far. You can see how a release is different from a previous one, what was added. and first pros is that it's totally open source. You can get to the developers without paying anything, read them out, say this your system has some bugs, and someone, for example me, can go to the issues, found of someone some bug which needed for my help, or so I usually look at all new bugs, and if it is very crucial, I would fix it. So another, there are some Amazon options, which was game lift, and one more thing. Sorry, I will use it. Open it on another. One more good pros of this is our. I would like to say thank you to Mark Mandel, who is uh, founder of this project. So, and one more thing is I will just let you know about some useful links. We had, yeah, so sorry, I will turn it off. Yeah, so as you can see, sorry, there was an investigation on how to use Amazon Fleet IQ, Game Live Fleet IQ with Agones. So you can check this out. I will send a link to each chat, or oh, wait a moment. Okay, I will send it to a chat here because it's very useful to all of you. And one more thing is this Mark's Mandel channel, which is very useful because he always making some game servers drawn badly or Agones live coding sessions. I would also conduct some of them of this based on Agones and OpenMatch features, and how to use MMF director and other implement other components. That's it. So I hope I was able to answer your question. So main process is that it is open source, and it is based on Kubernetes, also open source. The cons, possibly you don't have such level of support as in some paid versions, but I think you should always like check in for yourself, for your company. I hope this would answer your question. Will presentation slides be available? Yes. I think Oksana can answer this question.
Yes, we were recording these sessions together with our marketing team, and yes, they will be available right after the technical week comes to an end. We will send you the link.
Yes, and for now, talking about the commands you can use, you can run tests or anything from using make commands, and it is, if you want to help us in the development, you can go into the README in development and see all these make commands, what are they doing, etc. So the good thing about open source projects like this is that you always learning something new from the community. And I advise, if you are working with Golang or with Kubernetes, I advise you to look at this project, try to build something or to see how it's going. As you can see, all our development are in the Docker. So you need only Docker to run this. Terraform also inside the Docker, you run make shell and that's it, it is available. Yeah, and one more thing that we are using Hugo for our website, which is agones.dev. So this is another Google's project, is to generate static content like this out of markdowns, out of Markdown. Yeah, and all of questions I described in this presentation, except of the demo, you can see here. Yeah, there is a prerequisite knowledge which would be useful for beginners. And one more thing is we have frequently asked questions and troubleshooting steps. If we already met something, you will have the answer for your problem, for your issue. That's probably it. Thank you for your time. Yeah, and I hope you enjoy this session.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for this technical presentation. And tomorrow we will continue with one more webinar. It will be provided by Java architect working in our Globant Romania office. And together with him, we will be able to get to know what makes a good developer. So stay with us. See you tomorrow. Thank you everyone for participation in this meeting.